LangChain, you can make use of memory in your chats to actually keep track of what was conversed with the large language model. Large language models don't remember this kind of thing just automatically, and you take it for granted when you're using things like ChatGPT. You just tell it some piece of information, and it's able to recall it just fine. In the last part, we saw that we were able to just keep a bunch of arrays, an array of a bunch of prompts and responses, and that was used for the large language model to be able to keep a memory and tell you what you'd previously talked about. However, we'll see now that we're able to actually use a buffer that is memory inside of LangChain. So let's go ahead and get into Copilot. I have the link to this in the description. Copilot will allow us to actually run this when we need to. I am going to go ahead and run this part right off the bat, which is my code that contains just all the general setup that we need for it. So I'm going to create a class here that I call SimpleConversation. I'll go ahead and run this so that it's going in the background. But SimpleConversation, we're going to build upon this as we go through the parts of this module and chat. But this very, very simple one, what it does is it takes a model name. Here we're giving it GTP5 Mini. This may be a later model if you're watching this video later on, because I do always update this code to using the latest, most cost-effective model. The system prompt defaults to just your helpful assistant, and we start with a temperature of 0.3. We're going to use a prompt template from LangChain to basically put this in so that we'll have the history inserted where it needs to be, and we'll start out with the system prompt and the initial human prompts will go in here, and subsequent prompts as well. We create a chat OpenAI. This is designed to be used with OpenAI, but LangChain usually makes it pretty seamless to convert this to other LLMs. And then we also keep a per instance in-memory history store. So this is where our previous messages are actually going. It's just going to be a long, ever-growing list of what has been discussed. If you exceed the list, it won't truncate or summarize or do anything like that. We'll get to that in a subsequent part. But this will simply run out of space and probably error out if you continue to just give it more and more prompts to go through. This is something that changed a lot in LangChain. Previously, LangChain, they provided a whole variety of message memory classes for you to make use of, whether you wanted it truncated or summarized or whatever. Now they're leaving that largely upon you. And we'll see in later parts how we can build those types of messaging so that we can truncate old messages off, or we can just keep summarizing as we go. So you'll see here I have the chat command. This basically displays what the human wrote as bold and displays it as the markdown, and then queries the AI to find out what it would say and outputs that as well. You can get your complete history from this object if you wish, and then can also convert it to a dictionary form. I provide a couple of helpful functions there. If you just want to print out the history, see what it looks like, you can use that. You can also clear the history and even get the session ID that it's using to track that history too. So here we'll see where I make use of it through this simple conversation. I say, hello, what is my name? It tells, of course, it doesn't know that yet. And then I say, oh, sorry, my name is Jeff. And then I query it again for what is my name, and now it knows my name. You are conversing in Markdown, so if you ask it for something that has a table, like here we're asking for the most populous cities, and you do want to typically tell it, give me a simple table that renders correctly. Otherwise, it might ask you a subsequent question. As we saw before, you can also constrain it with the system prompt. Here I'm telling it just to answer questions about Washington University. So here I ask it, what is my name? It doesn't really as to what its name is. It does know that. It's Bearbot. Bears are the team at Washington University. And then I ask it for some recommendations for lunch at Washington University. And you can see it does follow up with another question. So you would have to continue the chat if you wanted useful information from it. I ask it what the world's tallest building is. It's thinking Washington University, so it's telling me, it's asking if I want to know on the Danford or the medical campus, which are two different locations in St. Louis. We can also examine the history. If we do this, we just see the messages. That's not too easy to look at, so it's often better to just put it into a loop like I have here. And this is the memory object. This is the very most basic memory object that LangChain gives you. We'll see in the next section, we can create some of our own more advanced messaging strategies where we either summarize or we truncate after a certain window. Thank you for watching this video, and if this is useful, please smash the like button, as they say, and please subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all the other projects that I'm working on in artificial intelligence.